Hello and welcome. So today's video is all about the men that Queen Elizabeth I of England could have married. So we all know Elizabeth I never married. She's known as the Virgin Queen, and she said that she was basically married to her country. But there were some men put forward as someone that she could have married if she chose to, but of course we know that she didn't. So anyway, this video is about those men who Elizabeth could have married. So Elizabeth and Robert Dudley had known each other since childhood, and many people thought that they would actually marry. Dudley was certainly Elizabeth's favourite, and they were very, very close. Elizabeth made Dudley Master of the Horse when she became Queen, and this meant they had to spend a lot of time together. And she also created him Earl of Leicester, but there was a problem. Dudley was already married. But in 1560, Dudley's wife Amy died under suspicious circumstances. I do actually have a video on this one. I don't know if it's been able to be linked in the top corner, whatever side it linked in. If not, you can just search the House of Tudor playlist and it'll be on there. Anyway, a rumour went round saying that Elizabeth had had Amy murdered so that she would be able to marry Dudley herself. But this actually made it impossible for Elizabeth and Dudley to marry, because if they did, then that would have probably confirmed the rumours that she had had Amy killed. So Dudley kept it in his heart that him and Elizabeth would eventually marry one day, but they never did. Though they did remain close friends until he died in 1588. So Archduke Charles of Austria was the son of Ferdinand I, Holy Roman Emperor. It was felt that the marriage with the Archduke would help with tensions with Spain because Charles was related to the Spanish king, and it was also thought that the marriage would provide some safety against France. But there was only one thing that stood in the way, and that was religion. Elizabeth was a Protestant and Charles was a Catholic. And the thought of the Protestant queen marrying someone Catholic made people feel really uneasy. So in the end, Elizabeth turned Charles down. So marriage to Eric of Sweden was first suggested when Elizabeth was still a princess. He was a Protestant, woo, and he was also very wealthy. So Eric actually really wanted to marry Elizabeth, and he offered to travel to England to come and meet her. But she told him not to come at all, and any suggestion of them getting married just came to an end, which was actually a really good thing, because Eric developed some mental health issues and his reign became really violent. He even stabbed someone to death himself, and I actually have another video about that one. It's called the Sthure Murders. So Francois was the son of Henry II of France. He was suggested as a suitor for Elizabeth in the late 1570s, and he actually came pretty close to marrying her. So Elizabeth's advisors wanted an alliance with France because of tensions with Spain, and they thought that a match with Francois would do that. So at first Elizabeth said yes, and this was purely for political reasons. But after their meeting in England, in which he travelled over to England to meet her, they became firm friends, and she even called him her frog due to how he looked. Now, there was some opposition to this marriage, of course, because Elizabeth was Protestant and Francois was Catholic. Due to threats of violence and unrest, Elizabeth told Francois that they could not get married, but they still could be friends. But then, this time a bit later, when Francois was visiting Elizabeth, as they were walking along, they was approached by the French ambassador, who asked Elizabeth if he should tell his boss, who was the King of France, whether Elizabeth would be getting married or not. And Elizabeth said, yes, me and Francois are going to get married. This, of course, upset loads and loads of people. So then Elizabeth went back on it again, saying to Francois, no, we can't get married. We can only stay friends. So there's a little video about the men that Queen Elizabeth I of England could have married if she did so choose to. The ones that she did come sort of most close to marrying were obviously Robert Dudley and Francois of Anjou. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!